Hello. Yeah. Just a quick rant, I guess, on racism, ignorance, and evil. The whole racism bit came about as a consequence, or as the root, as the fruit of evil. Why? After roaming the earth, trying to conquer everything on earth, and that was the white man's quest. The black man never attempted to conquer earth. We wanted to live in harmony, which is what we did. The white man's evil stems from his desire to control, and having this what you call Napoleon complex, Lil Dick complex. Why? Because after he realized that of the human species he's the least of all humans, he decided in evil, because that's all there is. He could just simply be humble and work on everybody or with everybody else, but no, he cannot work with everybody else. He chooses not to work under everybody else because he thinks he deserves to control. Unfortunately, an inferior DNA implies also an inferior intellect and everything else, because DNA, the building block of the human, we got the highest. That is indisputable, so I ain't gonna even get into that argument. So after he attempted to conquer the earth, they discovered with their gunpowder and stuff they could subdue a few people, so they opted for the Americas. When they came here, there were black and brown people living here, but with their guns and their superiority complex and other egoistic, narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic tendencies, which are all effects or consequences of having an inferior DNA. Not that I'm making an apology or giving them an excuse or justification for being demonic or evil. Unfortunately, that's what it is. So after trying to conquer the earth, realize that every person, every group of people, every nation, they try to screw the young ones, the offspring, look like the other people. They didn't look white. So they came up with the gun thing. Now, with their guns, they came and they managed to subdue a few natives on the island, on the continent. And of course, yeah, they came. Once they started to establish themselves, now the less expendable ones, because of course they're going to send the most expendable white boys first. So if they come out there and they die, that's what's up. It's a chess game. The bigger ones, the hierarchy of evil sitting in the back, pulling the strings as the puppet masters, and they got the little minions, the police, the army, the navy, and them running out doing their bidding. So after they send the expendables to conquer the land, a higher group, I guess you'd call it a low middle class group, came down, and they came down with their maids and servants. Now what happened was the maids and servants started to communicate with the slaves, because the slaves, I mean, we're all humans, despite the fact that the white man, in order to psych himself into justifying his evils and atrocities towards people of color, black people really, because colored people is white people, they get pink, blue, green, we black. So in order to justify his evil and atrocities against us, planet Earth's most superior humans, they decided that we were monkeys, that we evolved from apes and they're superior and all this other bullshit, which is not founded scientifically, it is not founded biologically, it is not founded naturally, it is not founded anywhere but in the minds of evil, white, pale or pale pink, genetically inferior demons with an extreme inferiority complex that drives them to kill. So once the slaves and the maids and them started communicating, they started putting two and two together and figure out, well, the only difference between me in this house, working in this house for but this white dude, and them black and brown dudes out there, is a skin color. And they started to unite, of course, to protest against the massa. Massa now being a little smarter, a little higher intellect, of course, than the average white slave worker in his house, not than the average black slave, the black free man or kidnapped victim that they enslaved, because They kidnap intellectuals, they kidnap geographers, they kidnap doctors, scientists, architects. Africa is not a continent of savages. The only continent, I can't call it a continent, the only peninsula that develops savages is the European Peninsula. The only part of Earth that develops savages per se are the Caucasus Mountains. So once White Boy realized that his servants that he brought with him started to unite with the slaves, he realized that he was in a bad spot, so he brought in the color game. Yo, do not link up with these people against us, because at the end of the day, you ain't them. We all white, they are not. And that is the game they play to this day. So when you got these cops and all the pigs running out in their uniform, slaughtering black people left, right, and center for white, rich 1% elite, the Rothschilds and their friends and cronies, at the end of the day, each and every single one of you pale, pink, genetically inferior pieces of shit is just a pawn in the game of evil. You are nothing. You are worthless. You are dishonorable. You're despicable. You're destructive. You're demonic. And the only thing that gives you power is your gun. Now you got an evil individual like Donald Trump who's coming in, and his first thing to go and rampage with immigration reform. His wife is not an American. His wife family, who will probably be pouring in here shortly, are not Americans. But this is where the white evil comes in, because they're going to justify all of their presence. These sons of bitches also forget that they are not native to this soil. Yeah, they were probably born here after centuries of being here, but original of this soil are black and brown people. White people are the immigrants in America. Black and brown people just coming back to visit friends and relatives. The real immigrants, the natural, honest, truthful immigrants to the Americas and anywhere else in the world besides the European Peninsula and the Caucasus Mountains, is the white man. But because of his evil and his racism and his dominion of the media and other evil gadgets that he possesses to perpetuate his fuckery, these things can carry on and be perpetuated and seem normal in the eyes of ignorant, uneducated, evil, foolish people, which are the kinds of individuals necessary to perpetuate racist and apartheid-like systems. Evil, lower, inferior, subspecies type individual. I don't have a problem with you to the extent that I ain't gonna run out there and beat every white person I see, even though sometimes I wish I could. But I know that your day is coming, and I ain't gonna do it, but I know there's a generation of young black people who gonna come and they're gonna be just as sadistic and hopefully more sadistic than your ancestors have been with ours, and that they kill everything that you possess, including your pets. Rastafari lives, rules, and reigns. Wake up, wise up, and rise up.